Welcome, ladies and gents, to a very, very late Carter's Corner Daily. Today is the 2nd of July. June, 2nd of June. Now, this is going to be an interesting one because I won't be able to go through all the press releases for today, so I'll pick the big people. So Mark McGowan, there's one from Alana Matien. There's quite a few today, but there's something else I want to talk about first. And there's also one here from Jim Carrey. So I'll have a quick read through it, and you guys can have a look. I'll do the what they're talking about, and I won't go into the comments to save a bit of time. So I have just spent about 9, 10, 11, 12, maybe 4 hours at the Perth Magistrates Court. So September last year, I got a parking fine for trying to pay for parking. Yes, that is correct. The car was stopped for 4 minutes. I had both my small little children. I'm not saying anything that the courts haven't heard, so I can't get into trouble for this one. So City of Perth, go yourself. So the parking inspector, his argument was because I was not out the car, I was literally across the road getting money out of the ATM because for some reason their machine wouldn't accept my bank cards. That I wasn't out the car, so therefore I was illegally parked, and therefore they issued a fine. I thought this was a joke. I tried to appeal it. The appeals process was stupid. It just did not work. It was extremely cumbersome. And they were trying to charge me over $300 for this parking ticket because of late payments. And so my total fine, including court costs, was only $412 or something. So I'm happy to accept that because it's now got black and white evidence through a court that states in the City of Perth, the moment you step away from your car, they can issue you a parking ticket. And that's 100% right. So it's in the court documents. So over the next couple of weeks, I'll be pulling out my transcripts, and I am going to reword my own legislation for this one. So all they need to do is add, you have to stay within, say, 50 meters of the car, which is fair and reasonable, because if you go to their machine and it doesn't work, you have to get another source of funds. You should be able to travel a little bit of distance to go get the funding to pay for the tickets, and you only have X amount of time to pay for a ticket. If you cannot get a ticket in that time frame, you have to move your car before a ticket is issued. I think that's a fair and reasonable thing to do, and there is absolutely no time limit in the current legislation. There's no distance in the legislation. There's absolutely nothing, and so it's an absolute crock of shit. Now, the judge was an absolute legend. Kudos to him. I'm not sure what his name was. It's in the paperwork somewhere. He was cool. So I just want to thank the Magistrates Courts for actually giving me a fair and reasonable hearing. He was super annoyed with the City of Perth on this one, but his hands were tied. So that will be becoming a private members bill. Well, not a private members bill, a bill that I will draft up, and hopefully I can get someone to actually action it. So we'll see. So that's an update on my day today, and that's why I am actually currently late for Carter's Corner daily for the 2nd of June. So quickly going into it, Minister Jim Carrey put out a press release at 6:30 this morning. I highly doubt he was even awake at that time, but we'll see. So we'll quickly pull this one up. Again, I'm not going to go into the crux of these things because we just don't have time. And if it is an important one, I will run through it. I may have to cut this show short. By the way, got my coffee. Had to buy one on the way home. So if these people want to sponsor the show, that'd be awesome. They have great coffee. Very sweet, very sugary. I think you get more of a sugar high than a caffeine high from it. So here we go. Interesting. Stop. Actually, I'm going to go into this one because there's a reason for this one. All right, stop puppy farming laws reintroduced into Parliament. A bill to stop puppy farming will be reintroduced into Parliament today. Proposed laws have received overwhelming community support since 2017. The new laws will prevent cruelty and help families establish that their dogs have come from legitimate and traceable sources. Legislation will also include reforms to demuzzle greyhounds. Greyhounds are not dangerous. They're one of the laziest animals out there. Now, I need to quickly skim through something on this. Okay, so the McGowan government is prioritising plans to end puppy farming in Western Australia by reintroducing the Stop Puppy Farming legislation in state parliament. Now, who was the person that brought it out the first time? That's going to be the key question for this one. A key McGowan government election commitment in 2017. Hang on. Whoa. A key McGowan government election commitment in 2017, the proposed laws have been overwhelmingly supported by the community and the animal welfare sector, however, were not supported by the Liberals and Nationals. No, I call bullshit on this one because, first of all, the Stop Puppy Farming legislation was not a Labor Party legislation. The person who put the legislation up was actually the Honourable Robin Scott from One Nation. He's the one that sat down with, what are they called? Puppy Farms West, or I forget the name of it. I follow them on Facebook. Really, really great organisation. They go around, they try to make sure that any animals that are bred for pets are done in a humane way, and they report a lot of the farms that they find that are not doing it correctly to the RSPCA and get action taken, which is really, really good. So, by the sounds of this so far, the Labor Party, Jim Carrey, is trying to take credit for a One Nation policy again. Stop Puppy Farming legislation, which also introduces reforms for demuzzle greyhounds, involved changes to the Dog Act 1976 that minimises the number of dogs suffering neglect and requiring rehoming by regulating the breeding and sale of dogs in WA. That's fine. Additionally, the bill... here we go. This is what I want to have a look for here. So this is the comments from John Carey. As a dog owner, I am passionate about getting these laws delivered to ensure we protect the welfare of dogs and give people greater confidence they come from a reputable breeder. This legislation has overwhelming support from the community, which is not surprising, given 1/3 of West Australian households count a dog as a member of their family. The government wanted this bill passed in the previous term of government, but this was another piece of critical legislation that was not supported by the Liberal and National Party. I call bullshit on that. From what I've been told, the debate on this actually got stopped because of COVID-19. So it never actually got the proper debate that it was deserved. It was a bill that, like I said, was my understanding was raised by Colin Tignell and Robin Scott from One Nation, and it looks like Labor is just trying to get credit for it. Our government is committed to delivering these important laws to help prevent cruelty and give people confidence that their puppies have come from legitimate and traceable sources. Because these laws will also stop things like puppy theft, which is a very, very big thing in WA at the moment. It's actually really, the legislation that was put forward by the One Nation guys was actually very, very well written. I've been very critical of One Nation in the last state election, and very critical of Robin Scott and Colin Tignell for not actually doing a lot. But I have to say this Puppy Farming Reform Act was actually a very, very well written form of policy. The legislation will also include reforms to demuzzle greyhounds, which will be great news for many dog owners. Considering 1/3 of WA households have a pet dog, this reform is a no-brainer, and I strongly encourage the opposition to support the bill to help protect the health and welfare of dogs in Western Australia. It's funny how they say they strongly encourage the opposition to support this bill. They don't need the opposition to support it. They can just ram it through. They've got the majority in both the upper house and the lower house. So, John Carrey, you're a twat. And it's just, again, Labor trying to steal One Nation policies all over again. Okay, sports and recreation, Mr. Booty. Let's see what he's got to say for himself today. I still find it fascinating that they put these on Word documents. I find that very, very strange. Because these are editable. I can change them. Like, easy. You just go editable, change, and you can make it say whatever you want. I haven't edited these. These are raw statements, but anyway. Okay, Hiking grants a gateway to experience WA's great outdoors. 15 local governments and community organisations sharing over $168,000 funding in response to the recommendation of WA hiking strategy. Further opportunities for hiking participant grants to be offered in 21-22. Grants up to $25,000 were available to eligible organisations through the WA Hiking Participation Grants Program, which aims at providing new opportunities for growth, opportunities that grow participation in hiking or develop leaders, including guides, instructors, and volunteers. So I wonder if something like the Bibbulmun track got a lot of money for this, because I think a bit more signage on the Bibbulmun track would be very, very good. Projects, programs to support Aboriginal elders and mentors to become hiking leaders in the Shire of Harvey. I actually like that because the Shire of Harvey is actually quite before they cut all the trees down and everything, it was one of the places where the Aboriginal people used to hunt. They used to do a lot of other stuff in the area. So getting the elders, I know I harp on a lot about we shouldn't be using race to determine things, but the Aboriginal elders in the area are uniquely qualified to be the right people for this situation. So I think getting and it'd be a great way to get a lot of schools involved in learning about the true history of Australia. So I don't mind that one. The creation of play trails within the Shire of Serpentine Jarrahdale for more hiking, more accessible to make hiking more accessible for family and children. I think that's very important. Australia has some of the worst obesity in children across the world. We're a very fat country, so I think getting kids walking more is good. A pop-up trail running event in the Shire of Chittering, and a hiking program for people with severe disability run by Friends of the Cape to Cape Track Incorporated. I think having more disability accessible locations across Australia for camping, hiking, and not just for the hiking side of things, but also camping. A lot of the campsites aren't very disability friendly locations. I have a lot of trouble with camping sites. Yeah, this is good. It's just a bit of like things like development. It's not a lot of money, but it's for these little groups to make a hiking trail. It doesn't cost a lot of money, so you don't need a lot of money to do things like this. Bibbulmun track's a different matter because that goes from I think it's long. It's I think it's Northam all the way through to Albany, so it's like 400 something kilometers. To maintain that actually costs a lot of money. So I hope some of this money goes to the Bibbulmun track because they do an amazing service. A bit more signage would be good on that one. My mum did it. She actually got lost. We had to go find her. So it's good. It's again a bit of a fluff press release, but that's okay. But it's an important one nonetheless because we have fat kids. Not all kids are fat, so don't. I'm not fat shaming people. I'm just saying that statistically, we are a very fat nation, and our kids are the worst off of the lot. All right, so let's go. This is Rita Saffioti. So this is a minister for transport. Transport hires an insane amount of people, so she's got a very important portfolio. I'd probably give her maybe a 5 out of 10 in her efforts so far. Over 10,000, 10,000 more interstate vehicles roll into Western Australia. Over 10,000 more vehicles transfers occurred from May 2020 to April 2021 compared to the same period in the previous year. That's because everyone's probably fleeing Victoria, or it's just cheaper to buy vehicles in Queensland and ship them over than what it is to actually buy cars in WA because of all our stamp duties and everything. Government charges, fees, and regulations. It's kind of stupid over here. More than 2,000 driver's license transferred to WA from 2021 compared to 1920. Department of Transport employing additional customer service and staff to meet the demand. Jobs is always a good thing, so whatever. Our population is booming over in WA anyway, so there's kind of you're expected to see the figures increasing. So let's have a look here. Vehicles transferred from interstate to and registered in WA increased from roughly 30,000 between May 2019 and April 2020 to 40,339 between May 2020 and April 2021. This is a 10,000 car or almost 35% increase in the previous year. So a lot of these people are actually moving to WA for a variety of things. Our land's cheaper, our lifestyle's better, the environment's better. We've got a lot more jobs over here. I won't say we've got a better government, but can't say that one because that would be a lie. But things are just cheaper over here. Living conditions are a lot better. Melbourne, my understanding, has just lost its most livable city in the world title. People are just getting sick of it, and they're sick of Dan, so they're getting out. The Department of Transport has hired additional customer service officers to meet this demand. Residents with a driver's license issued from Australian state or territory outside of WA can use their license for up to 3 months, after which time they need to transfer their license to a WA license. Now, here's the thought for you. With all the lockdowns going on, is this increase because a lot of these people couldn't get back to wherever they were coming from? So it'd be interesting to see. We have seen a dramatic increase in vehicle registrations in WA and license transfers across to WA. Anecdotally, we have heard about the number of people returning back to WA, and these figures prove this. The Department of Transport has employed additional customer service officers to meet the demand, with vehicle registrations from other states up almost 35%. Now, I don't know if you know this or not. The last time I went to the Department of Transport, like DCP, sorry, not DCP. What is it? RTA centres for the people overseas. Over here we have Department of Transport, DOT. All I was doing, I had to do a new photo for my driver's license for some reason. I can't remember. And I had to sit there for over an hour and a half to get a photo because that was just back to back. It was worse than Centrelink. Like, it was terrible. So hiring more people to deal with the demand is well and truly overdue. Again, that is also the reason why I feel that Minister Rita Saffioti is only getting a 5 out of 10. She seems to be doing a lot of reactive things rather than showing proactive changes and doing the things that are required before it comes up needing. She just suffers from foresight. She doesn't see things coming up as they come. So, the next one we have is from the Honourable, notice the pause, Mark McGowan, and the Honourable Sue Ellery, MLC, Minister for Education and Training. So I'm always pro-education and training as long as it's accessible by everyone. McGowan government building better schools in Perth's south. Gee, I wonder whose area that is. That may just happen to be Mark McGowan's. 30.29 million stage 2 upgrades to Ridgeview Secondary College now underway, including new performing arts centre, 2-story learning block and auditorium. Project set to create more than 100 jobs, supporting small businesses and the economy. McGowan government investing $1.5 billion to deliver new schools and improve classrooms through WA. You don't need to improve the classroom. Like, yes, some classrooms are terrible and they need to be improved. What you need to do, you need to reduce the number of students per teacher. That's the biggest issue in WA at the moment. And I talk to a lot of teachers and they are fed up. They are so angry. So many teachers are going into early retirement purely because it's too hard and they get paid crap. Like, the wages for a teacher for what they put up with is terrible. So Sue Ellery, MLC, for the Minister of Education and Training, you need to put more pressure on the McGowan government to allocate more funds to teachers, more training to teachers, and get teachers' aides. So one of the biggest complaints I hear all the time from every single teacher who has a child with learning disabilities, so what they do, they assign a teacher's assistant to the child. But a lot of the times, the children who get teacher's assistants aren't really that bad. There's definitely a few that genuinely need a one-on-one training the whole entire way through. But what happens is, because that person is only allocated to that person, so let's say they've got low-level autism, so they don't really need it all the time. Just having someone there to comfort them when they're a little bit scattered, when things get a little bit too much for them, having someone that can calm them down is definitely needed. but probably 80% of the time they don't need that one-on-one training. So that person needs to be able to help the teacher with all the other students in the classroom. And when you've got one teacher dealing with 32 kids, and then you've got one person causing a bit of problem, not the autistic person's fault or whoever's got disability, but having that secondary person to be able to help control the classrooms, or having smaller classroom sizes so the students can get the level of need, that level of attention that they require, I think that is going to do a lot more better than not having state of the art sound projection systems within the classrooms. Things like that are just not required. So it's just, whatever happened to a whiteboard and a texter, things like that. I grew up with an actual blackboard. God, I can tell you that when they were trying to figure out that I needed glasses, that was so hard to read. Anyway, so I think this is it's not a waste of money, but there's more important things to be spending this money on. And having more teachers, having smaller classroom sizes is a much more important thing than having fancy looking classrooms. The McGowan government's significant investment in public education and infrastructure is continuing to take shape, with stage 2 of construction starting to Ridgeview Secondary College. Premier Mark McGowan and Education and Training Minister Sue Ellery visited the college today in Baldivis, Rockingham, that's his area. Pork barrelling to turn the first SOD on the sod on the 30.28 million project. Oh, they're probably digging a hole in the loam, like the grass. I wonder if he was even able to dig up the grass. The upgrades are among a raft of education projects underway in Western Australia, with the McGowan Labor government investing $1.5 billion to deliver new schools and improve classrooms around the state. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, comments from Mark McGowan. My government is committed to delivering high-quality education facilities across Perth's growing suburbs. He should be saying, my government is committed to delivering high-quality education. The facilities should be coming second to the quality of the education. If a teacher turns around and says they can't give a great education with really bad facilities, then they're probably not a very good teacher. With this project set to provide significant improvements for the Ridgeview school community while creating local jobs. Yeah, can anyone else say pork barrelling? So just so you know, Mark McGowan is the Member of Parliament for Rockingham. Oh, we've got comments. You need to put EA back into classrooms, education assistance for neurodiverse people like Asperger's, ADHD, and dyslexia. Dyslexia, 100% agree on that one, because it really does make learning difficult. You need someone to be checking what they're doing all the way through. I've also heard printing things on yellow paper. Apparently that really helps also. Also, it's super duper hard for a disabled child to qualify for EA. I have heard of that. If you've got things like autism, is practically an immediate thing, but all these other things like ADHD, dyslexia, Asperger's, and all those other diseases or syndromes, it's very, very hard to get the assistance required, probably because there's a lack of staff and there's a lack of funding to actually supply those people. Speaking of things they spend at schools, we got a new sign. We got a new sign. We don't need cosmetics or state-of-the-art sound systems. Yeah, exactly. So you don't need a $100,000 sign out the front of the school. That $100,000 is probably 2 part-time EAs. Oh, we didn't need a new sign. Thanks for that one. So yes, we are getting comments on this one. Thanks for listening in again. I hope you have been enjoying these shows. I am a little bit late on this one. I hope if you didn't catch the first one, have a listen. It's about my court case that I was out today. So going back to McGowan, once complete, the enhanced college will provide students with the best educational opportunities with much improved arts, music, STEM, and vocational education facilities. So the only one in this that I really, really, really support is STEM and music. So there's something about music. It helps make neuro connections, which enables you to be able to do better in your STEMs. So science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Might be English and mathematics. They didn't have STEM. Like, they weren't talking about STEM when I was at school. Mine was like social studies, Earth and the Environment and all these other weird names. Okay, so comments from Sue Ellery. These innovative facilities will provide students at Ridgeview Secondary College an exciting opportunity to learn in the most up-to-date facilities. How about just teaching them something that's relevant? As Education Minister, I am committed to making schools better, investing in our communities, and creating local WA jobs. Now, creating WA jobs, Sue Ellery, that is not your job. Your job is to make sure our kids get the education they deserve in a nice, safe environment. Your job is not to create jobs. That's other people's jobs. Get back to the basics of your job. Get back to making sure that education and curriculum is correct. Making sure that the teachers are not overloaded. Making sure the students have a safe environment to learn in, aka Kelmscott High School, where there was another stabbing a couple of months ago. So things like this, you're failing the community because you're getting distracted with things that are not your job. You need to get back to the basics and do your job as the education minister. So sorry, Sue. If Jim Carrey was only getting like a 5 out of 10, I'd probably say you're getting maybe a 2. Like you're distracted all the time. You're not doing what you should be doing. Okay, comments from the Baldivis MLA, Reece Whitby, who just happens to be the State of Emergency Minister. So I don't know why he's in this press release. This is a rapidly growing area, and I'm proud our government is delivering upgrades to ensure the college can continue to provide excellent educational opportunities for local families. The college will ensure that kids in our local area have access to top-class education they deserve. So the thing here, again, they're not getting a top-class education because the facilities are fantastic. They need to get a top-class education because the teachers have the support that they need to do their job properly. Okay, so please get off your high horse and start focusing on our kids rather than, oh my God, that school looks pretty. That's infuriates me. And please, Education Minister Sue Ellery, do not bring in safe schools into WA at all under any circumstances. I will be homeschooling my kids if you do that. Sorry, that was a bit of a rant and rave there, but our kids are our future and we need to treat them right, and I don't think Sue Ellery is doing that. Let's see, 13 minutes past. Don Punch, we haven't had him before. So this is a press release from... we might have had him before, actually. So the Honourable Don Punch, who is a MLA Minister for Seniors and Ageing, and Andrew Booty, my local Member of Parliament. Good old armour hole. All right, new Kalamunda Aged Care Development Site goes to market. So they're flogging off Australian assets again. Oh, wow, Labor. We can't handle the economy, so we'll just sell everything. Yeah, state government seeks residential aged care developer in prime catchment area. Registrations of interest sought for former Heidelberg Park site. So it looks like they're actually building an aged care facility, which is good. New development will increase aged care facilities in the Hills area. Development will create new local jobs for the WA economy and enable more local residents to age in their community. I think they put the wrong word there. So you go to an aged care facility to die. You don't go there to age. I'm not a big fan of aged care facilities. They've got a need and a purpose, but still doesn't mean I like it. Now, government is seeking expressions of interest from suitably qualified developers for a new aged care development in Perth Hills. So I'm going to stop this one right here. Suitably qualified developers. So I wonder what the prerequisites for these suitably qualified developers are. Do they have to be members of the Labor Party? That, I think, is a really, really important comment. Are they sugarcoating things? Are they giving contracts to their mates, aka Perth Council, before it got dissolved? I'm hoping against hope that the selection process is transparent and clear. I highly doubt it, but hey, welcome to the dictatorship of the Labor Party in WA. Located 20 kilometres east of Perth with dual road frontage, the 10-hectare Canning Road site was made available by the City of Kalamunda to provide more aged care accommodation for our local community. Interested parties are asked to submit a development vision for the site that responds to the adjacent natural parklands, outlining their proposed number of beds, associated amenities, and services for residents. Here we go. I think this bit here is a little bit more important. This site is the latest of more than 50 new aged care development opportunities that have been progressed through the lands transfer, rezoning, development approvals, and land projects, with potential to deliver almost 2,000 new aged care beds across the state. We are very muchly an aging population. So as much as I don't like aged care facilities, it's still an important part of society. A lot of families just don't, with the need to have both parents work, both children of the parents working, or the husband and wife working, dealing with the kids. The ability for families now to look after their elderly within their own homes is getting less and less and less. It's one of the things I think Vietnam does, and especially, and I hate to give credit to China, it's actually against the law for Chinese people to abandon the elderly. You have to see them in certain time frames. That's something I do actually like. In Vietnam, they put all the family together, so grandkids, kids, grandparents, parents, a whole entire lot, all in one house. So everyone is looked after equally. That's something I would have liked to have seen more in Australia, but our housing just doesn't suit that sort of thing. Anyway, going back to this one, expressions of interest are open until 2 p.m. Western Standard Time, so I'm guessing that's our time, on June 30, 2021. For more information, go visit dplh.wa.gov.au. Okay, comments from Tony Booty. The McGowan government is committed to delivering more aged care accommodation facilities across the state. The state government worked closely with the city of Kalamunda to ensure the Heidelberg Park site was available to deliver a residential aged care facility for the local community. We are seeking interest for development of the site to create a modern aged care facility that embraces the Perth Hills lifestyle. So Don Punch, who's the Minister for Seniors and Ageing, let's have a look here. The state government has invested heavily to remove barriers to the development of aged care facilities and deliver more beds, ensuring our senior West Australians have access to residential care options to suit their needs. We know there is a high demand for aged care facilities that engage with the natural environment and allow people to age in place. Maybe that was supposed to be age in peace. This excellent site offers both of these features. I thank the local member of Kalamunda, Matthew Hughes, for his dedication and hard work in ensuring more aged care facilities are available in the local community. So from Matthew Hughes, MLA, so that's the local member of Parliament, this is a great opportunity to provide for providers to respond to the need of additional aging in place community in the hills. I don't really like that word. Aging in place. I am very pleased that the work of the McGowan government over the past 4 years to expedite the availability of land for aged care facilities is now coming to fruition. I just find a lot of these local members of parliament, it seems their responses to things are very, very scripted. It's not very natural. I feel that this guy's just a placeholder. I'd be very surprised if he contributed anything to the Western Australian government in the next 4 years of worth. So it'll be, I could be wrong, and I'll happily eat my words if he proves me wrong, but I'm not hopeful, to say the least. Anyway, so I'm going to call it there. There are a few more that I've got to go through, but I am out of time. So for those who have been listening in and putting the comments into the chat and all that sort of stuff, thank you very much. Please make sure you jump over to my Patreon account, so patreon.com/Carter's Corner. It really, really, really does help. And if there's any issues or topics that you want me to address in these videos, make sure you send it through to me in the Facebook. So Carter's Corner on Facebook, you've got Carter's Corner on the YouTube, or just reach out to me in the messages, and that's fine. I'll be able to address it, things like that. And if it's a really, really tricky one and there's research to be done, I'm happy to do the research on the computer with you guys watching so you can actually see how I get a lot of this information. So anyway, guys, this has been Carter's Corner Daily for the 2nd of June. I hope you enjoyed. It was a flying visit, but I've now got to get the kids from school. So thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys and girls tomorrow.